This is the video notes for 9.2b, calculating the regression line. This notes tells us how to put in our data to our calculators and have our calculators calculate the equation for the line of best fit. The steps are, so that's what we're going to use. I'm going to add that up here at the top, that we're going to not use our handheld. Instead, we're going to use Desmos, and it's located at desmos.com/calculator. Basically, it's the online graphing calculator for Desmos. Now, the reason why I'm having you use this instead is because it's so much easier. There's only 3 steps, and I'm going to list the steps over here on the right. So the first step, when you want to have Desmos calculate your line of best fit equation or regression line equation, is to add a table. And I'm going to do this plus sign, and you'll see in a moment why. So let's put in this plus sign. So you're going to add a table with your data. So that is the very first step. The second step is to add an equation that uses your table. And it has to look very specific. It has to look like this: y1 tilde mx1 plus b. Now what this does is it uses the x coordinates that you put in and the y coordinates that you put in, and it runs it through calculations, and then it spits out your equation for your regression line. So it's pretty awesome. The third step, and for the third step, I'm going to draw this little like wrench, and it's just to adjust the scale so that you could better see your scatter plot. So adjust scale. So you would click on that and adjust the scale, and it's going to give you some options: less than or equal to x, less than or equal to something, and then an option less than or equal to y, less than or equal to something. And this is what my recommendations are for your, basically your, what you see of your graph. Don't go into the negatives, just have 0 for the lower boundary. And then for the upper boundary for x, choose a little bit more than your x coordinate from your data set. A little bigger. Let me zoom in a little bit. Then biggest x value. And same thing for y. A little bigger than biggest y value. That way you see all your scatter plot points and you see your line of best fit or regression line. So I'll show you now how to do this. So this is my Desmos graphing calculator, and the first step is to insert a table. So you go upper left right here where it says add item, you click on that and then you add table. And then what you're going to do is here under the X column, so let's zoom in a little bit more, you're going to add in all your total fat in grams for all the sandwiches listed on the notes. That way those are your x values. And I'll go ahead and do that. Now that I have my total fat in grams added under the X1 column, now I'm going to add my total calories for the sandwiches in my Y1 column. So just start typing those in. I'll go ahead and do that. I now have all my data in my table for all the sandwiches. And then the next part is to add an equation that uses your table. So I'm going to go here to the next line. Do you see where it says 2 right there? And I'm going to type in y1 tilde mx1 plus b. y1, and then you go shift tilde. It's below the escape button on the top left of your keyboard right there. And then this is telling you, oh, I'm going to do a calculation, and I want it to be slope intercept form, so I go mx1 plus b. All right, so that's what I put in. And you'll see as soon as you type that in that there's some information that shows up right below here. And it does the calculations instantaneously. It's so cool. It has r squared and r, m and b, and then something called e for residuals. So what we care about for this notes is the m and the b. So it looks like our slope is 11.7 and our y-intercept is 193.9, or I guess I could say 194 because it's total calories. So, and they're whole numbers in the table, so we can just round to the whole number. Our last step is to actually see the graph. You can see that, oh, I don't see it, so I have to adjust my scale. So I'm going to go to the wrench, upper right over here, and click on that. And then I'm going to adjust my x-axis and my y-axis. So here I'm going to go to 0. And then my largest fat is 34, so maybe let's set this to 40. And then for y, let's start it at 0, and then we'll go to our largest calories, which is 560, so let's, or 590 actually, so let's do 600. There we go. Now we've got a great image of our scatter plot with all the dots and the regression line drawn in. So once we've done that, then we need to sketch this on our notes and write the equation for the regression line and then do a prediction. So here's my sketch. So it literally just is a sketch. So I go like this. My line goes something like this, and then above, below, below, above, above, below, above. And then there's a whole bunch kind of toward the end. Once I've done that, then I write y equals 11.7x plus 194. And then the way that I'm going to use my line of regression equation is to make predictions. So if a sandwich has 40 grams of fat, can you predict how many calories it will have? Absolutely. Just plug it in for x. So I go 11.7 times 40 plus 194, and I believe I get 662 calories. Okay, and that is the faster, more time-effective way of solving for the regression line using the Desmos online graphing calculator. I hope this was helpful. I wish you luck on your practice. The back page here, But rather than use the handheld calculators, I'm actually going to have you guys use the online Desmos calculator.